Put your hands together for Matt Newlands, please.
Thanks, Richie. Stay here. Just quickly, before I do my bit, I just want to, get Richie a big round of applause. I mean, to put events on like this takes an immense amount of work. I'm sure some of you have probably tried to do these things before. Maybe some of us haven't, but the amount of work that goes into not just putting on this event, but to keep the Next Step brand represented in the community, it's a powerful thing that the Next Step creates in community. And whilst I know that you would have liked to have seen a few more people here, so please do not underestimate the impact that this brand, this logo and your face has in the community. It's a powerful, powerful movement. So big round of applause for Richie. Cool. And that's right. Yeah. And now forget everything I just said. And also thanks to Em as well, because I know that you put a lot of work tirelessly behind the scenes as well. So thank you very much. I always get a little bit nervous when I see that Kim Inglis is going to be talking before me, or at least like at the same event as me, because I'm like, shit, like how do I back that up or compete? So Kim, thank you very much for sharing your story. It's hugely impactful and very powerful. I'm not going to talk too much about my personal story. Rather, Richie had asked me to, come and share a little bit about what it is that I might be seeing in the mental health landscape, particularly with working with men in the community. I'll talk a little bit about my background. Richie's just given a bit of an introduction around that, but there's probably a common thread, particularly when working with men in that counselling space, that none of you will be surprised about, but I thought this might be an opportunity for us to unpack it in a little bit of detail and hope that there's an opportunity for you to take some things away, go back out into your community and then share some of those learnings as well to normalise a lot of these conversations, because I think this education space is really where the work is at. And frustratingly, certainly in the circles that I operate, whether that's with executive leaders of organisations to parliamentarians, the education piece, to front load people with information, seems to be the area that's lacking the most. We'll throw heaps of resources at the post-injury or the post-vention space. That's necessary, I get that. But this space is such a powerful space for us to operate in. So hopefully there's some key learnings here that we can all sort of take away. And it's not just going to be me clicking through PowerPoints, belt feeding information and hope that something sticks. Rather, I'm going to ask you some questions and I'll trust, albeit we've got an intimate crowd here, that people will engage with me, otherwise it makes me feel sad. So that's not what we want, do we? We don't want to feel sad. So I'm going to see if we get this clicker working. Richie's given a bit of a background. Some of you may have come to the event where I did share a little bit about my story in a bit more detail. I did 10 years with the South Australia Police from 06 to 16. Mostly frontline general duties positions. I finished my career with the State Tactical Response Group. Unfortunately, I've been in a number of situations where Kim, you shared some of your story, like that's been a reality on the other side. And so I certainly could never fathom the amount of empathy that's required in those spaces. But certainly in my career, I spent a lot of my time focusing on proactive policing, which came with a pretty heavy toll. I got out in 2016. I picked up a few labels along the way that are pretty common, things like post-traumatic stress, depression. I too had some thoughts and behaviours around suicide. I managed those poorly with maladaptive coping strategies like drinking and that sort of stuff, but I think we might touch on that a little bit in this session. But then once I got out, quite dramatic circumstances, I spent a bit of time getting myself well, and I've been fortunate to be working in the mental health space now since 2018. Occupied a few different roles there, and now one of the co-founders and directors of Frontline Mental Health. So I'll talk a little bit about what services we might be able to provide at the end. So I won't go into too much detail just yet. So the theme that I've kind of picked is this endurance versus resilience. There's a reason for that, because I think that in society we're getting sold a particular message which is making it particularly challenging for us to understand how we're meant to show up. And again, like I said, the theme is coming through with the men that I'm speaking to in counselling sessions, where I've got a little case study as well, which I've de-identified, but you'll see potentially some striking similarities to people that you know, and maybe some people in the room have felt this same way. So I thought that rather than just trying to talk in great detail about resilience, I'm going to put the two of these words side by side and we can unpack them in a little bit of detail. So I guess this is the bit where hopefully you talk to me. Hopefully I've stalled long enough for you to see the question, start thinking, that's a good point, what is resilience? And if we do get stuck, I'm going to come to Richie, so I'm prepping him already. So what is it? What is resilience? How would you describe resilience if we had, a 10-year-old child out the front that you were just trying to explain what endurance is? What is endurance? How would you describe it? free-for-all.
Dealing with challenging experiences.
Dealing with challenging experiences, yep, it's a good place to start, yep, love it. Want to build on that?
Ability to continue over a long period of time.
Ability to continue over a long period of time, so just stay in the fight for a long time, yep.
Not giving up.
Not giving up, that sounds like that's a pretty key part to endurance, I would think. Does anybody want to add anything? It's a pretty good summary so far. I've got a definition, I'll save this just in case like Richie's starting to panic because he's like, I haven't got anything else to say. So let's unpack this. Oxford Language says, pretty much captured your thoughts there. The ability to persist through an unpleasant or difficult process or situation without giving way, with not giving up. It's that endurance over time, maybe showing up in a long, sustainable approach to whatever challenge, be it unpleasant or difficult. No one's surprised by this definition? Wouldn't think so? No, we understand what endurance is? Cool. So let's go then. What is resilience? I know that Kim's given us a few little indicators. Some of us may have been paying real close attention, or if you could see through the tears, you could have seen on his slides. What is resilience? How would we describe what resilience is?
I guess we all know that saying, you get knocked down 7 times but get up 8.
Stand up 8, the pretty famous quote around that, isn't it? Yep.
Not give up.
Not giving up, the ability to get back up when things get tough.
Yes.
Yep.
Say that resilience and endurance are kind of the same thing in a way.
Okay. Did you want to expand on that at all without putting you on the spot? No, I've put him on the spot. It's absolutely putting you on the spot. We're all friends. Yeah.
Yeah, pushing through without giving up.
Yep.
Being resilient to be able to push through those bad things without stopping. I think they're sort of the same in a way.
Yeah. I really like where your head's at in going this direction, because I think that this is what societally we've been saying for quite a long time. There are some nuances, and I'll show a graphic in a moment that is going to just offer at least a perspective, of my perspective, maybe an interpretation. You might not necessarily agree with me, but I think it's an important discussion for us to have. So if we come back to resilience, or you want to go?
Is it okay that I've already seen these slides and I kind of know where this is going?
I don't know, you're going to wreck my presentation. No, go. What have you got?
Well, I guess in terms of, and not so much from what I've seen,
Sure.
but in what I was saying about the whole, we get knocked down 7 times, but we get up 8. It suggests getting knocked down means we're at a point of where we're at our top, and when we get knocked down, we're at a place of bottom, we'll say, as an example.
Yep.
And sometimes at those places of bottom, it's necessary to rest or take refuge to be able to find ourselves, to be able to get back to our top.
Yep.
And then that becomes like a cycling wave, I guess. So there's the 7 peaks to the 8th top, I guess, in that way. I guess going back a slide, endurance has been able to maintain at a level for a consistent amount of time.
Absolutely. And this is why Richie is one of the directors and co-founders of The Next Step, because we're all on the same page here, right? But I think these are some pretty clear nuances. I've got a definition of resilience. There's actually quite a lot of definitions of resilience out there. And if you, I guess, speak to a good friend of mine, Dr. Dan Pronk, who is the author of Resilience Shield, he unpacks this in quite a bit of detail as well. So if you're getting really excited by my slides and you want to learn more, that would be a great book to read. But in the meantime, I've got this particular definition: the capacity to recover quickly from adversity. Yeah, that's one definition. The challenge, I think, and we're not going to go into this here because I haven't got enough time, I've only really got sort of 20, 30 minutes, is that even in that definition, there's a few words that I think are very unique and very individual to each of us. Because when we think about the capacity to recover quickly, what does recovery look like? That's going to be individual. What does quickly look like? Again, that's going to be very individual, isn't it? I know some of us would have just heard Kim's story and just gone, I don't know how this bloke has such an impact in the world that he has, and isn't, like, if that was me, I couldn't do it. So how do we put quickly on experiences like this? Yeah, and we've all got our own stories and our own challenges. So we're not going to go into detail here. And the same thing with adversity. I think we can be very quick to almost go, well, this person's had it worse than me, this person's had it harder than me, that's not really that hard, maybe I've got nothing to worry about. No, it's like your worst day, your difficult time is your worst day and your difficult time. It's important maybe to put some perspective, but we have to still acknowledge the individuality here. So picking up on what Richie was saying, endurance, we've got this ability just to keep pushing, right, until we can't. The resilience piece is this capacity to recover quickly from adversity. So I think that when we talk about resilience, the key thing is what do we do about that recover quickly bit? What's our capacity? What does it look like? It's not the adversity necessarily. It's not the pushing through, which is what society, I think, has told us. So we can then create this question. Why do we even need to be resilient?
To adapt
To adapt?
to whatever the adversity is.
Yeah, well, I guess like life would look pretty ordinary, wouldn't it? If every time we survive, yeah, and not just that, maybe the next step beyond survival. Thriving. Yeah, yeah. Because if every time we encountered stress, struggle, or distress, or challenge, and we just took that kick and then just didn't get up the 7 times or the 8 times, then that's just life, and we can, maybe resign ourselves to sitting on the couch, smoking bongs, playing PlayStation, which might sound fun for a period of time, but if we still want to then have a life of meaning, and there's a few people, maybe you're in that space, I'm happy to have a chat. Happy to have a chat with you afterwards if we need a, I'll come back to that. Yeah. So why do we need it? We need it because life is going to be challenging, right? We're going to face struggles. We're going to face adversity, like it said on my slide before. Like, what is resilience? The capacity to recover quickly from adversity. We know that things are going to challenge us. So we need it for these reasons. I've got this, exactly what Richie just said, but I put a little pretty picture around his words. So endurance, this is to me is the difference. I said, welcome to challenge me and prove it wrong. I lived the life at the top. I met challenge and I persisted and then persisted and persisted and persisted until I couldn't. And then for me, when it fell off the end there and then ended in this big crash, a big identity issue, burnout, stress, diagnosis, labels, all this sort of stuff for me, that's the part where if this little laser thing works, this bit here is often what I'm finding is that when people are coming to start maybe even a little bit back further, that's where they're starting to say, I mustn't be resilient. So no, we haven't actually spoken about resilience. We're talking about endurance. You've hit your threshold of your ability to keep pushing and enduring through with 2 different discussions. The resilience piece, exactly like Richie was saying, is we meet adversity and challenge. We might have to endure through for a period, but then we have to recover quickly, don't we? So that we're ready to match the next stress, the next adversity that we face. That's resilience. So we don't need to get so caught up in this. Rather, we need to be focusing here on this. That's the resilience piece that is often overlooked. Men in particular, it seems, in my experience, I've got no data to back this up other than just all my counselling sessions, is to say that they are thinking that. But society in a lot of their environments, that's what we get told, is that when things get difficult, we just need to be more resilient. It almost pushes responsibility or expectation to the individual. That's actually not what it means at all. I think whether it's an organisational thing, it could be an industry thing, certainly those that I work in the military first responder space, they get told to be more resilient all the time. That's not what we're talking about. They're being asked to endure more, to tolerate more. We need to be focusing down here at the bottom. What is it that we're doing that can help us recover quickly? So I've got this. This is a de-identified case that obviously the names have changed. It's roughly similar to a number of experiences that I've had most recently. And like I said, when Richie came to me and said, can you share some of the stuff that you're doing? I've just hypothetically put this up. So Chris, for those that might not be able to see it, he's a 33-year-old father. He's got 2 sons, Ryan and Eli. Chris works full-time on a rotating roster and usually has some overtime each week. Throw in some stuff, whether it be FIFO or nighttime work weekends. He loves coming home to his wife and kids at the end of the day, particularly loves spending time outside with them. He's had a few nagging injuries that stopped him training at the gym before work, and he's now noticing he's quick to get frustrated with the boys and is feeling withdrawn from his wife. I have almost like an expectation of sorts that there might be someone or maybe some people that have felt like this before or might be feeling this now. So I just want to normalise what this experience is. This is very common. I see it time and time and time again. And I think there's very good reason for it, and we have to think about how it is that we might be able to support Chris. So for those of you that might be feeling like this or have felt like this or maybe concerned that you could feel like this in the future, this is an important sort of, I guess, case study to think about. I'm going to just ask you this question at the bottom that I hope will come up here. Because Chris often says that he wishes he was a better husband and father. This happens a lot. I wish I was better. I wish I could do more as a husband. I wish I could do more as a father and have that sense of weakness. Because they've hit this point of endurance, they don't know if they can sustain it anymore, and the crash is either looming or they're in the midst of it. And so that statement gets said to me all the time. I wish I was a better husband and father. Richie, what would you say to Chris?
I would say go speak to Matt Newlands.
And then when I push back and go, Richie's a counsellor.
No, it's a good question. I'd probably, in this regard, with someone like Chris, I mean, and not to go back on the slides we're just talking about, but that's in the forefront of our minds, and it's something we speak within our Next Step Men's group a lot, is asking Chris when was the last time he took some solace in rest and focus some of his time and energy into himself, and seeing if we can repair or help rebuild, from the bottom up, so to speak. And just find out what Chris needs as well.
Perfect. Yeah. Is there anybody else, now that I've bought you a little bit of time, anybody else, like anything stand out that you'd think, I really wish Chris would just know this? You might not, you might still be pondering the question.
Just be understanding what his understanding would be on what it looks like when he's a better father and husband. Do you have an idea about what that actually looks like before you
Love
put
it.
any steps in place to make that?
Love it. That is like one of the biggest questions that is overlooked. It's almost like this, the elephant in the room. We hear this statement. Chris says that he wishes he was a better husband and father. Exactly to your point. Well, what does that look like? How would you even know? And for most men in particular that I'm asking that question, it is silence. They've never thought that question before. They just wish they were more. They wish that they were better, whether it's a societal expectation, whether it's a family thing, a cultural thing, a generational thing. This is an important thing that we need to look at. Love that Tilly's here. So when we're supporting Chris, these are the things that we come to. Richie, we said this self-care, self-compassion, I could probably almost put that in the same space. This is the stuff. If you're Chris, or if you have a mate that is Chris, these are the places that we want to be unpacking here. Chris is struggling with getting to the gym. That's his safe place. That's where he knows that he can get there before work or after work, and it helps down-regulate the nervous system. We know all of the physiological things that impact, the closeness of physical movement to mental health. We know that. He's having difficulties though. And this is where, I guess for a lot of guys, it's very common. The gym is the place. That's where we might go for this stuff. But what happens when we can't get there? What happens when we've got the injury? What's the backup? Are there ways to work around that? Do we know how to, introduce other parts of our regime so we can still move our body and still expel that energy and do the things, still get the social connection, maybe of training with the guys, but what else can we be doing? That self-compassion thing, it's easy to put two words up here in a nice environment here. That is probably one of the hardest things that most people struggle with, is the ability to be able to give themselves a little bit of slack, cut themselves a break and go, you know what, I'm trying my best. And it's enough. That is probably one of the hardest things that people are doing. The relationship with the wife, I guess in this case, or let's just expand that out, the social connection piece. It seems to me that certainly a lot of blokes, and I'm very much broad strokes and stereotyping here, I see a lot of more men than I do women, so that's where I'm drawing my experience from. Cool, you see that my co-founder is messaging me as well, which is important. But one of the things that is that social connection piece, has a profound impact on our well-being. Often we're finding though that the first thing we do is we withdraw and we isolate. We go hide somewhere because it's like I don't want others to know that I'm not able to endure anymore, and that's a sign of weakness. That's not it at all. I'll use an analogy for that in a second. And again, I can't stress this bit enough. What does better mean? And even if we're doing well, now we feel good, we're doing well, I always encourage people to take stock of where they're at now. If you're in your prime and you're living the dream and you're having such a great time, write this shit down. What's working? Because there might not be a time that it's actually going as well. How do we recreate this? Let's not debrief when we're on the X, when we're in a really bad way, and start to try to implement these strategies. What does better mean? How would we know? So let's work towards that, which probably touches on the goal setting that Kim spoke about as well. Sorry, Richie. Yeah, no, that's all right. So I'm going to use this as an analogy because we started there. How many people here regularly go to the gym? Yep, a few. Why?
Mental health for me,
Okay, mental health for you, Em. Yep.
and to just be physically strong as a female. I like being able to do most things on my own without having to ask anyone else for help. It actually makes me feel good, like, and you know, just training all round just makes me feel like a better, stronger, healthier person.
Perfect.
And, you know, in sync with my healthy eating and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, so it's part of that like holistic well-being piece that you look at. Fantastic. Scotty, why do you train?
Decompression, train with some blokes, so we all get
Social
our stuff out and we can talk safely, and that helps.
Yep, perfect. Yep. Other friends, you want to weigh in here?
Yeah, same as what Am said, but role model to my daughters to have a strong dad.
Yeah, perfect. Love it. I'm sure there's probably other reasons here as well. I'm just very conscious of time, so we're just going to grab 3 that I prepared earlier that thankfully you kind of alluded to. Firstly, that ability to get stronger. That's what we're trying to do, right? Yeah. Maybe there's a better ourselves, whatever that looks like, whatever that means to you. You know, this idea of better, and condition ourselves to withstand more. Yeah. So how do you do it? Do you just go to the gym, or go train with the guys like that 1st of January? So, there's probably a shit time. Everyone does that on 1st of January. And then you don't see them again. But do you go just on that one day and train for like 24 hours and then just not go back? Like how do you train?
In a structured way.
Okay. And what does structure look like for you, Kim, when you're training? Is it like so many sessions a week?
4 or 5 sessions a week for sure.
Okay, and then let's go dial in. You're going to do train chest and you're going to hit the bench. Yep. Do you do what, 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 8? Like,
I normally do group functional fitness, so working with a group, set programs.
Okay. Yeah.
But also, I also train differently now than how I did 20 years ago as well. So
Adapted over time. Comes back to the comment that our friend said over here. That's looking for that resilience approach to your way that you train.
it's just the fact that I'm not 30 anymore.
Yeah. Who here does like lift weights? Yep. Incremental? Right. Why?
Because you need a benchmark on where you're starting and where you're getting to.
Yeah. And so how come you don't just get under the bench and just knock out 50 reps?
Because you need to condition yourself, condition your body to be able to do that.
Yeah, because you hit your threshold. Is that fair to say? Could you get under the bench and hit 50 reps? And yeah, you can't. So interestingly, when we work out that we train physically in sets, we do it consistently, and there's a rest and recovery period. Has anybody ever seen that person scrolling on Facebook at the gym, and you're just like, what's that person doing? Like Richie's there, and he's like just sitting on the bench, and he's just like doing nothing.
Yeah, because you're like, I could be using that to I'm wasting my time right now. Get off.
But I don't think any of us here would look at Richie and go like, that's weakness. Like, he's a specimen of a man, isn't he? He's like a godly Spartan, one might say. But because likely, Richie, I'm going to make some assumptions that you likely train with a structure and insets and consistently, and have those rest and recovery times. Yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you got under the bench and did 10 reps, and then you get out, and then you go rest and you scroll Facebook for a bit, or maybe you message Em, or send her lovely messages and things, because that's the type of partner you are. But then it means you can get back under the bench, right? And you can do another 10 reps, as opposed to maybe doing 20 in one set. Yeah, you can see where this theme is going, right?
And even like Kim was saying, even in the group training setting, although you're, especially in strength, although we're all doing similar exercises and it is pre-programmed for us, you've got 8 minutes to lift as much weight, which is fine, but we want to get the weight as high as possible, so we'll build in the minute or minute and a half recovery within the 8 minutes to be able to take on the next set. So we're constantly being able to rest more weight a little bit and then utilise the time we have. Yeah.
So incrementally get better over time. We still have to endure though, because when you hit that 9th rep, that 10th rep, the 15th rep, however it is that you train, that's hard. That's where the work is. But then we pause, we rest, we recover, and we come back and we do it again so that we can get better and better and better. And so it goes on until we start changing the way that we train, because we're not 30 anymore, like Kim says.
I think the other thing, Matt, is that if we're using the weightlifting analogy, normally the heavier you lift, the longer you've got to rest.
Yeah. And thank you, we didn't even plan that. Yeah, a really important point though, because the same thing happens with our mind. The pause is part of the progress. The rest between sets is part of the process. That's how we keep showing up. That's how we don't injure ourselves. Because if you just got into the gym and you just pushed and pushed and pushed, you endured through until you hurt yourself, then you stop going to the gym for 6 months while you're in rehabilitation. Rest isn't the weakness, it's preparation. It's trying to get us ready to go back again. Yeah? So it's essential for growth. It's not a sign of failure. So for the guys that I have that come to the office now and are saying, I feel like I can't do it when the kids are, carrying on and I've just got home, I've walked in and I find that I have to walk away and I step outside and I'm out the front and I'm having a few deep breaths and I'm doing this thing. People are coming to me saying that I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like, mate, I think that you've actually found what's right with you. You've found what is actually the effective thing. Do you leave? Do you get in the car, drive, and then move to Victoria and farm goats and live another life? No, you come back. You come back into the environment, right? So this is actually the thing that is not the sign of failure. It's essential for the growth that's required. So what does it look like? It looks like all sorts of things for different people. I've just put a few things up there because some people, they resonate with terms like mindfulness, some don't. I would say though that what you practice is what you get good at. So again, for the people that I'm working with, it's not about waiting to get right in the shit and in the hard stuff and then try to figure out a strategy when we're already at our low point, when we're already struggling and we're introducing something new. If anybody's ever tried yoga or meditation or breath work, it takes practice. Getting into ice baths, getting motivation to get up on a Sunday morning, go meet Richie, get in the cold. I know a few of you have done that here. If you're not necessarily in a good space, we know it works, it's good for you, but man, that's a hard thing to start when you're not traveling so great. So practice these things when things are going well and encourage each other as a community to get behind, these initiatives because we know that they work. I'm done. I won't bore you with what we do in my company other than to say we're based in Adelaide. We do training and counselling and stuff all around the country, sometimes overseas. If you need anything from me, you can scan the QR code because I think that's what we do since COVID. Otherwise, you can come see me and I'll hand out a card. I've got a team full of people who are happy to help. Please don't underestimate the impact of coming out here on a Sunday, supporting the next step. Just doing this is part of the rest, this is part of the recovery, and just respect that some of us might be struggling more than others. Otherwise, keep doing what you're doing. I can take questions if we've got time, otherwise Richie, I'm all done. Thanks very much.